And I brought a picture today from John's wedding, which was in Massachusetts and then celebrated up here in Southport, Maine in July of 2007. And in the picture is my parents, who've been married 62 years, my husband and I, who've been married for 36 years, and John and Greg, who've been married for 2 years. Also in the picture is my son, who is straight. And by living in Maine and having a gay son and a straight son, I have to live with, as a mother of these two men, the fact that there are not equal rights for the two of them when it comes to the issue of marriage. And that's why I'm here today, to support that for my son John and my son Jeremy, who are both straight and gay, that they have equal rights under the law and can have all the benefits of marriage just like I do and my parents.
So the thing that I want to say is I often wish people watching this could have come to the wedding. And the thing that struck me was that my grandnieces, I think they were 8 and 10 at the time, were at the wedding. And someday somebody's going to say to them, you know, oh, your cousin is gay, and they're not going to flinch the way people flinch today, because when they were there, that was the most normal thing in the world for them, and all they cared about was two people who loved one another and a great party. And as you look at this picture,
and not a cheap party.
Not a cheap party. Sometimes people want to say, what do families look like? And that's what a family looks like.
This is a family with love. This is a family full of love. This is a family that supports marriage. This is a family that loves their son.
So I'm going to talk for a minute about me, and then I'm going to talk about my husband and I. So I was born in Worcester, Massachusetts, but we moved to Waterville when I was 6. So I grew up in Waterville. I'm definitely a Mainer. Graduated from Waterville High School in 1985.
President of his class.
I was the senior class president. So it's 2009, so I have a 25th reunion to start planning for next year. And then I went to the University of Maine at Orono, graduated in 1989, wearing my Maine hockey jacket today. And I wanted to mention that Maine is a very special place to me. And even though I live north of Boston now in Massachusetts, and there are some intentional reasons for that, not just the jobs that Greg and I have in Boston, but because in Massachusetts, this is fully recognized. We have the same responsibilities, obligations, privileges that our neighbors have up and down our street. We're not selecting rights for the straight house and different rights for the gay house. It's all the same in our town and in our state. So that's one reason we live there, and we don't live in Maine. What's important about me and Greg is that we did this because we love each other. And this is a commitment between us as a married couple and a public commitment that our state in Massachusetts supports. We could have gotten married in Massachusetts, but we got married in Maine because obviously growing up in Maine, going to school in Maine, it's a big part of my life. Greg's family always vacationed on the coast of Maine. They actually stayed at the inn in Boothbay Harbor where we got married. So it was a very special spot to us, and even though we had to have a pre-ceremony the weekend before at our house in Massachusetts for the legal aspect of it, this was our wedding day, and this was our wedding weekend in Maine. That was a nice shot in the arm in an economically depressed time for the community of Boothbay Harbor. Between our wedding and all of the restaurants and hotels where 140 guests stayed, that was a shot in the arm of well over $100,000 to that community. So, you know, it's a commitment for Greg and I. We are a monogamous, committed couple that loves each other, and that's really what this is all about. And I think people sometimes focus on how different we are, the politics of this, the religion of this, and take either side. At the end of the day, we have to all ask ourselves the question, is this about politics? Is this about religion? Or is this really about two people that wake up every day next to each other, go to sleep next to each other every night, take care of each other in sickness and health, pay taxes like any other taxpayer, and do they deserve the same civil rights as anyone else? That's what this is about. And so Greg and I are 2 years into this. We're hoping to bring that 50% divorce rate way down by staying together for the rest of our lives. And I hope that the state that I grew up in and that I'll always call home will get it right and support more days like this for more couples.
And I just want to add two other things. One is, I think what you said about having a straight son and a gay son. It doesn't make sense that one of our sons should have all the rights of marriage, and you know, if he were living in Maine, another son not be able to have all the rights. So it's about equality. The other thing that I would say is that a long time ago now, it's probably about 10 years, when we had still another referendum on whether or not gays and lesbians should enjoy protection. That John was in our house at the time. He was living in San Francisco. But he had to watch the news that talked about the referendum overturning equality. I just don't want him to have to watch the news again, telling him he can't have the same rights as straight people. So I'm really hoping Maine comes through this time, and I know someday it will, but it can't be too soon for people who are struggling to have the same equal rights as other people. So that's what I would say.
One last thing. I think the legislators who are going to hear people today have to recognize that this is not an issue that is waiting. It's very soon going to be the case, and very, very possibly the case, that Maine may be the only state in New England that does not recognize equal marriage rights. Massachusetts has done it, Vermont has done it, Connecticut has done it, New Hampshire has civil unions. There will be legislation in New Hampshire soon. Rhode Island is recognizing out-of-state marriages. If Greg and I were to move to Providence tomorrow, they would recognize our marriage. Maine is the one state that could be standing out in the crowd. If we really want vacation land to be vacation land for everybody, whether it's for a big wedding ceremony like this or just any family taking a vacation, Maine's got to act now. This is an important time for Maine not to stand out as the state that doesn't recognize equality.